human resources for the people. It's a human capital revolution. Today, we're going to be answering questions from AskHR on Reddit because I'm banned from there. The first one up is it's out of Missouri. It says, does OnlyFans show up on a background check? And this person's a college student working at Walmart, paycheck to paycheck, and they're going to have to fill out a W-9 form for doing OnlyFans, concerned whether or not it'll show up on potential employment opportunities. To answer your question, no. No, background checks don't really work that way. Can you imagine, for example, if a background check pulled up every 1099 that you had to file? Some people who are contractors, if they were backgrounded checked by a employer, would end up with, thousands of 1099s, right? It could be substantial and serious. So no, they don't check 1099s. The only time where this might matter and that you would have to that you might have an issue is if you're filing for a federal background check for like a secret clearance or something like that. But other than that, do your thing, girl. Next one up is out of Iowa, and it says, is part of my wage being robbed?" And it says that, that they worked at a mine camp, that they were making $19 an hour, and a person handling inventory and distribution was making 19.25. Eventually, this person who was a dishwasher moved into that role. Um, and then, the salary was never increased. They finally got a boss a little bit later. Um, and then finally it says that in 2020 they requested a wage, and shows that they're getting a raise from 19.25 an hour to 20 an hour, meaning that it was 25 cents, and they noticed it right away, and said, so no. So it sounds like this employee never actually, like, well, A, doesn't really care whether or not they got it. They in October of 2022, they requested it. I imagine that actually he says that the contract, I assume that this isn't a contract. I assume that the job offer, or maybe the policy, says that it's 1925, that you can request from your current job, not a promotion. And so, frankly, when the job change happened in March of 2022, they should have requested the change, because I imagine that's what the policy actually says. I imagine that the policy doesn't want people to work in new and higher positions, and be promoted really quickly, just to ask for a raise. So this person didn't ask. Basically, they didn't spend their time to care, and now they're concerned about being robbed. So then they moved into the new role, and they're getting the raise right away. First off, every dollar is an important dollar, right? So, but it's a quarter an hour, which means that um, it's $10 a week, which means that it is something like $560 if I'm doing my math right, which I'm probably wrong. At most, it's 1,000, right? So it's very limited in terms of pay. Every bit helps, obviously, especially when you're making $19 an hour. I understand that, but it is not a whole lot of money. So it says, is there something I can do? You could have asked for your pay up front when you moved to the role in March of 2022. Uh, has anyone else had this happen to them? Maybe, but every company is different. No one in HR could help you at all, frankly, from a different company. We wouldn't be helpful here. But regardless, your wage isn't being robbed. You were assigned a pay rate. You took new duties, and then you didn't choose to care about whether or not your new pay rate is in effect. So then you got a new raise, pursuant to $20 an hour. At most, you're out a really minimal amount of money, and you obviously didn't care for 6 months. So I think I would let it alone without causing a lot more trouble. Great question out of California, and I will note that when it's out of California, I have to be a little bit protective. I've never operated in California, and so this is based on national FMLA and not anything local. It says, government employee off probation. Sometimes they have mental health issues that they seek care for. Sometimes they need to take time off because symptoms are overwhelming, but these events don't happen often. If I were to file for FMLA, would that protect me and keep people off my back as far as time goes? And also, if I do secure FMLA and take time off for appointments or mental health issues, could I use sick time for the absence? So, first off, she says later in the comments that she's been there 10 years. The off probation is what had me a little bit concerned. You have to be there a year, and that includes temp time, and you have to work at least 1,250 hours. I'm assuming if you're a government employee that you have worked at least 1,250 hours, especially if you need this sort of accommodation. But in addition, if you've been there 10 years, then yes, you qualify for FMLA. So that's key. Yes, FMLA is what this is for. And that's the whole point of FMLA is to protect you and keep people off your back as far as time goes. The FMLA absences can't be held against you. In addition, if you do have FMLA and take time off for appointments or mental health issues, you could use sick time for the absence, although you do have to disclose a little bit more, I think, in the state of California. So consider that. But yes, you can use sick time for the absence. And frankly, I imagine in California, you must. Um, at least you're supposed to use FMLA. You're supposed to use PTO in lieu of FMLA leave at all times. You're supposed to. Many companies are very forgiving on this, but frankly, you do. You are supposed to take. You are supposed to take PTO off on when these things happen. You are supposed to be paid for it. If you're interested in this and more, please like, share, and subscribe. I'll hit you with another one of these next week. And as always, see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye.